Welcome to One Poet, One Poem. I'm Scott Young, your host, with Jack Varnell operating the tech side. Today we have our one poet is Rick Christensen. Good evening, Rick.
Good evening, and thank you so much for inviting me to do this. This is exciting, and I'm looking forward to it.
You're the inaugural guinea pig, I guess you could say. Uh, Let me introduce you a bit for those that may not know you. Rick Christensen is a former corporate executive, stand-up comedian, actor, and director. His work is published or forthcoming in McQueen's Quinterly, Sheila Nagig, Oddball Magazine, Stone Poetry Quarterly, The Rye Whiskey Review, As It Ought to Be magazine, as well as other publications. His work also was included in the 2023 New Generation Beats Anthology from the National Beat Poetry Foundation. He has been recently nominated for the Touchstone Award. He is the co-host of SpoFest, a member of the Writers' Place, and a member of the St. Louis Writers Guild. His first full-length collection, Bone Fragments, published by Spartan Press. He lives in Missouri near his fiance and 8 grandchildren. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you.
I think tonight you're going to read the poem Not a Hero, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Stage is yours, my friend.
Okay. This is a poem about my adoptive dad, and it's a narrative piece, so it's self-explanatory. So I'll get right into it. Not a hero. My father was past 80 when he finally began to tell us about the war. It was his first war when he was only 20. He served during 3 conflicts, but it was that first war that marked him. It started when we found the box of his medals and we told him that he was a hero. He became angry. He rejected the label with scorn. He told us that he knew heroic men, but that he was not one of them. He said, first you get scared and you stay scared. You were frightened for so long and so relentlessly that you get angry and you stay angry. You are angry for so long and so relentlessly that you get stupid. You start to take risks. You do crazy things that you would never have imagined. And if those crazy things don't get you killed, well, then they give you medals. But it was all just because you were afraid and you didn't want to be there and you could not believe that you were there. How the hell did it happen? You were pissed at yourself and the enemy and your mission and the cold and the dirt and the bullets and the goddamn army. He said the good war movies got a lot of it right, at least the newer ones. But he said they couldn't get at his deepest memory of it all, the smell. He told us of the smell of his own skin and of the men around him in the foxholes. Once they had a break, the major told them to put the torn and worn uniforms that they had been wearing for months into a gigantic pile of filthy fabric. And they doused it with kerosene to burn the stench and the lice. And they all got cold showers and fresh uniforms were on the way. But the new uniforms never got there. Each man had to pick through the pile of kerosene-soaked garments, trying to find something close to the right size with correct rank and insignia. He said he spent 2 more months in another man's clothes and that it took a week before the stink was his own again, even through the stench of kerosene. But they were grateful. At least the fuel killed the lice. He said the cold that winter was worse than the artillery. The shells came in waves. There were lulls and valleys in the action, but the cold was constant. He said you got worried if it stopped hurting. That meant the cold was winning. So you would shake and stomp to bring back the pain that told you that you were still alive. And then he showed us his 3 belly buttons from the bullet wounds. But this time he wasn't being silly like every time before. This time he was in earnest. For the first time, he was bearing witness. It wasn't a punchline anymore. He told us of all these things almost quietly, quickly, and with an embarrassment bordering on shame, but also some stubborn pride. He just wanted us to know that he was not a hero, you see. Thank you.
That's a good one, Rick. I love that poem. First time I read it, I thought, yeah, that's a winner there. He has to read that poem. Uh, yeah, that's the greatest generation, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
He went in, born in 1924, went in when he was 20 years old, and went in what they call D+3. He didn't go in on D-Day. He went in 3 days later, and fought his way through the hedgerows and all the way into Germany, and then he got out and got out of the army for a little while, and then went right back in because he just couldn't find his place in the world right away, and stayed in and fought in Korea and in Vietnam. And Vietnam is what got him to take his retirement. He said that it was not a good war. He goes, there are no good wars, but he said it was just, he said that World War II, yeah, well, he would joke about it. He said, well, we all had costumes and everybody was pretty good at staying in their costume. So you know who to shoot. He says, that got a little iffy in Korea. And he says, by Vietnam, he says, you didn't know what was going on. You know, he goes, I didn't want to be, he finished as a command master sergeant. And he said, I didn't want to be telling my privates that they had to shoot people that looked like civilians. But that was, what I needed to tell them because we didn't know if they were civilians or not. Come here, B. Calm down. And yeah, she doesn't like me to pay attention to anyone but her.
Oh,
and so yeah, it was fascinating. And we didn't get him to really talk about any of this until he was in his 80s. When he was younger, he just wouldn't. We would watch movies and he would kind of like watch them and you could kind of tell what he thought of it, but he wouldn't say anything. And so yeah, I had wanted to write this for a long time, and I finally did, and I'm glad you like it, and I know I like it because it captures him for me in a way that well, I've got a few poems. You've got my book. I write about this man pretty frequently. He had a profound impact on my life. I met him when I was 15 years old, and I became what he affectionately called the son that he forgot to adopt. And he was a part of my life until he passed away about 12 years ago. So pretty special. And yeah, this generation was amazing. And I don't even really know what to say about them because so much has already been said. Who is it? There's a book called The Greatest Generation by the newsman. Used to be on NBC.
Brokaw?
Yeah, Brokaw wrote it,
Yeah.
and he captured it really well. And when I read the book, I remember being marked by how similar mom and dad were to the people that he was describing, because that's where they came from. I mean, Mama Bonnie,
Sure.
she would always say, I'm a Nebraska farm girl. They didn't know they were in the Depression. That's her like, well,
Sure.
we didn't know there was a Depression. And they really pretty much didn't because they made all their own food,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They had cows, they had chickens, hogs, whatever. So they weren't hungry
Nope.
at all. Well, Rick, thank you for being my first guest. Thoroughly enjoyed it. His book, Bone Fragments, uh, is published by Spartan Press. It's a very good book. It'll set you down, and if you have a heart, it'll break it.
And this book by our illustrious host is an excellent read too, and it will do everything from make you laugh out loud to break your heart. It's an amazing volume, and definitely you are college material, my friend. and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. For our viewers out there, basically what Scott and I did was is I wanted a copy of this and he wanted a copy of this, so he mailed me this and I mailed him this, and we're both happy. And I am just so pleased that I have a book to trade finally, and so this is exciting. And then the opportunity to come on here and share one of my favorite pieces, it has been wonderful. And I hope I did good as your inaugural guest, and I
You
hope
absolutely did.
and I look forward to watching the cavalcade of additional guests down the road.
We will post this probably Monday. Jack's going to do some editing and stuff, and I will get you the link.
Fantastic. I
All
will
right.
do a little bit of marketing here. I will be at the Writers' Place on March 15th at 7 p.m. with two other wonderful poets for feature reading. And then on the 16th, I will be at Firehouse number 9 in Kansas City doing a thing called Truth in Comedy. It's a national touring company where they use local comics and storytellers, and I'm going to be one of the storytellers. And a couple of the comics that are doing the show have specials on cable, and it's a great and interesting idea, because what you do is you get up and you tell a 10-minute lyrical essay or story, and a comic is assigned to you. They get what you've written about 3 weeks before, and they have to write a corresponding comedy routine to go with it. And some of the
Nice.
stories are heartrending. I know mine is about the relativity of truth in the context of dealing with social services and school systems in the context of abuse, something that you from your side of it know an awful lot about. And I am feeling sorry for the comic who has to do a 10-minute comedy routine coming behind that and be on point with it. But it's going to be interesting. So if you're in the Kansas City area, weekend after next, I highly recommend coming to see me on Friday night and Saturday night, doing a double bill that weekend. So thanks for the opportunity to sell. Take care, my friend.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.